Hi everyone, this is Avinash Prakash, Professor Digital Traction ERMI. In this lecture, I am going to discuss about the fuel used in diesel engine, that is high speed diesel oil, HSD oil. As we all know, petroleum products are non-renewable source of energy and India is highly dependent on import of crude oil for production of HSD oil. Indian Railway is one of the prominent bulk consumer of HSD oil in India. So this topic is very relevant to us. Fuel is a major source of expenditure in railway operation. Total diesel used for traction purpose in year 2018-19 is 2.749 billion liters, or you can call it 2749.01 million liters, worth more than 16,000 crore rupees. So conservation of fuel is an important factor in bringing down operational costs. Proper attention need to be given to the handling of fuel oil in order to prevent losses from spillage and overfilling of tanks. In addition, a proper foolproof system of accounting of fuel receipt and issue to be in place for taking various managerial actions for conservation of fuel. So it is one of the biggest outgoing expenditure of Indian Railway. So we have to critically analyze the preventive measure that we can take for conservation of fuel. Now we discuss steps taken by railways to cut down use of diesel fuel and improve fuel efficiency in its operation system as under minimum inventories of all railway consumer depots RCD, that is called, have been reduced from 15 to 5 days. Use of B5 blended high speed diesel with 5% biodiesel in the diesel locomotive has been started. Trip ration is being reviewed properly to tighten the slack trip rationing. Trip ration basically is a quantum of section-wise diesel consumption fixed in respect of diesel locos by Mechanical Power Department in the divisional headquarters. Fixing of trip ration is a mechanism to fix and monitor consumption of diesel on designated section. So each section have been fixed a average consumption, that is called trip ration, and drivers are being monitored with respect to that. The performance of loco pilot is being monitored regularly. List of bad and good runners are being identified on the basis of fuel consumption vis-a-vis trip ration. Bad runners are being counseled and monitored by loco inspectors. Monitoring of loco pilots using dynamic brake and performing costing according to the topography are being done. To avoid ideal running of engine of diesel locomotive, a joint procedure order JPO has been jointly issued at railway board level with operating department and accordingly at zonal railway level, also for shutting down of diesel locomotives in case of idling of the locomotive. Monitoring of idling of diesel locomotives has been started through remote monitoring and management of locomotive and trains RAM lot fitted in diesel locomotive. So we have installed RAM lot, a feature that takes real-time data from the locomotive, and fuel consumption are also being monitored. Rationalization of fueling pattern has been implemented based on landed price of HSD oil. The cheaper RCDs are fueling more to diesel locomotives to avoid fueling at costlier location of RCDs. Since diesel has a component of state level taxes, so there may be price variation at a state level. So rationalization of fueling is done that at cheaper locations, more fueling of diesel locomotive to be done instead of RCDs having a costlier landed price of HSD oil. All overaged broad gauge diesel mixed traffic engine WDM2 type old alcohol locomotives have been withdrawn from mainline service, having more than 31 years of service life. Conversion of diesel power car DPC of demo trains in dual fuel diesel plus LNG or CNG mode has been started to use CNG in place of diesel. Already, Sakurvasti said has converted some of the HST demo deck with CNG kit, and we have the target to increase the component of CNG up to 20% of the total consumption of fuel. Auxiliary power unit has been introduced in diesel locomotive for automatic shutting down of the diesel locomotive while standing idle. If any locomotive is idling for more than 10 minutes and certain conditions are met, then the main engine gets shut down and an auxiliary power unit gets automatically started, which keeps the all control panel running and supplying air to brake power. So there is a substantial saving of fuel. The average consumption of APU is 3 liters per hour, whereas the main power pack of diesel consumes 20 liters per hour. Retrofitment of microprocessor control system in diesel locomotive have been executed to achieve better fuel efficiency. Common rail electronic direct injection CREDI system has been developed and are being fitted in diesel locomotive. Miller cycle based turbo supercharger and variable turbine geometry VTG turbo superchargers have been developed for Alco locomotive to achieve fuel efficiency. So many improvements in diesel locomotive system have also been done to improve the fuel efficiency. The requirement of high-speed diesel, the Indian Railways enter into a rate contract with oil companies. Supply orders against this rate contracts are placed by zonal railways for various consignees. For this purpose, bulk storage cum dispensing facilities, that is RCDs, have been set up at various locations by mainly three public sector oil companies: IOCL, BPCL, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, and Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited, HPCL. These facilities, known as railway consumer depots, have been provided by the above oil companies free of cost on assurance of guaranteed offtake. This means they have set up the facilities for facilities of railway consumer depots in railway premises at their own cost. Only thing we have to assure them to have a guaranteed offtake supply from them. The responsibility for maintenance of railway consumer depots also rests with oil companies. For supply of product, railways generally prefer allocation of railway consumer depots to the firm that had initially set up the facilities for obtaining supplies as per rate contract term. So building and maintaining the facilities are in the scope of oil companies. After the assured offtake quantity is drawn from a railway consumer depots, railways are free to allocate the railway consumer depots to any of the firms on payment of specified annual storage charge and on getting the undertaking for long-term maintenance. Generally, as per the latest guideline, it is around 8,000 KL. I am I may not remember it correctly, but it is around that. However, above three oil public sector units continue to be the traditional suppliers of HSD to Indian Railways. In the past, few firms, namely Reliance Industries Limited and subsidiary of ONGC, that is Mangalore Refinery Petrochemicals Limited, evinced interest in securing rate contracts, and accordingly some rate contracts were concluded with them for a limited number of RCDs. So I'm again repeating, Railway Board enters into running contract with oil companies. The principal chief material manager of Zonal Railways places withdrawal order of annual requirement on oil companies as per contract placed by Railway Board. These oil companies maintain installation called RCDs at strategic important locations. Railway consumer maintenance is done by oil companies. A railway supervisor and some helpers are posted on each railway consumer depots for its operation, receipt, accountal and issue of HSD oil. So operation part is with railways. Railway consumer depots have tankage capacity equivalent to 15 days to 30 days consumption. Railway maintains 5 to 7 days inventory at each railway consumer depots as per latest Railway Board instruction. When a stock reaches the prescribed minimum level, a memo is issued by railway supervisors to oil companies for supply. 100% availability of HSD oil at all the time is being ensured. Railway Board has issued a JPO in year 2010 regarding checking of HSD oil at RCDs. This JPO has incorporated provisions of receipt of HSD oil, storage tanks, issue of HSD oil, measuring instruments, handling loss, stock verifications, and inspection, etc. in detail. Recently, the Fuel Management System (FMS), a web-based application, has also been implemented in railways, in which daily issues stock availability can be seen on internet at every level. Based on consumption trend and stock availability, the supplier can take replenish decision. Thus, the system inventory becomes vendor managed, and our supervisors are also keeping track. Officers sitting in his chamber also keeps track on the consumption of HSD oil. Railway Board is also monitoring fuel management data regularly. Facilities usually consist of unloading facilities, storage facilities, pumping facilities, distribution facilities, facilities for delivery to locos, fire protection arrangements. Unloading facilities should be provided at a convenient place which can be approached by both rail or road or pipelines. Depending upon how the supply has been received, zonal railways has been advised by board to shift transportation of HSD oil from rail to road wherever feasible. However, HSD oil supplies are still being received through rail tank wagons. Wherever supply of HSD oil to RCDs is exclusively done by the tank lorries, a good approach road to RCDs should be made available. A ladder with platform, canopy facility and level flooring platform must be made available at RCDs for placement and recording of dip levels of lorries. The decanting of such lorries to be personally inspected by a gazetted officer at least once in 2 months to ascertain that the instructions and accountable procedures are being followed as stipulated in Railway Board JPO. As soon as railway road tankers is placed for decanting, the supplier seal arrangement at the top and bottom should be checked. If they appear tampered with, an immediate joint inspection by representative from oil companies and RCD in charge along with the truck drivers should be conducted. No tankers should be decanted after the sunset except in exceptional circumstances. Since HSD oil is can be easily sold in market, so it is more prone to theft, so we have to be very cautious. Many railway supervisors have already lost their jobs due to vigilance case in at RCDs. A storage capacity must be available so that even in the event of interruption of deliveries, there is adequate reserve quantities available for operation. A storage capacity provided should be enough for about 10 to 30 days consumption. Generally in our series, prefabricated cylindrical type tanks are used for storage of very large quantities of fuel. Vertical cylindrical storage tanks are used. Some storage tanks are also fitted with sensor. This sensor gives data in real-time basis like fuel stock on hand, temperature, density, water content in the oil of the tank. The fuel issuance is also computerized at some location. The stock balance in fuel tanks are physically verified at a stipulated period, and it is also cross-checked with the electronic stock availability. There is periodicity to check the water contamination, and the cleaning and painting of storage tanks are always also taken at the interval of 5 years, and inspection are being done at every 5 years. So this is how storage tank. During cleaning of tanks, there are some quantity of sludge at the bottom of the tank. This sludge should be collected in empty barrels, and its quantity should be assessed with RCD in charge, a stock verifier of accounts, and all companies representative. Because this sludge contains the quantity of oil, so to write off this sludge quantity as per SOP, proper sanction of competent authority is being taken, and it is being debited from the ground balance, because this is not being used for supply of fuel to diesel engine. And since this sludge contains the oil element, so it should be disposed as per a state pollution board control regulation. So we have the legal requirements. It should not be just thrown away, rather it should be properly disposed of. So for pumping of fuel to the fueling point, we required pumps. Electric motor driven pumps of the centrifugal, rotary displacement or the reciprocating piston type are usually employed. In addition to electric pump, a diesel pump as a standby should be provided. So diesel pump with DG sets are being installed as a standby. These are the some given type of pumps being used. Generally flow rate is around 800 liter per minute. Flow meter is necessary between the storage tank and the loco being fueled to record the fuel supply made to each individual diesel loco. There is also a totalizer which records the total issuance. A spare flow meter should also be provided in case of main flow meter gets fail, and all issues should be only through flow meter to have a proper accountal. If there is a variation in supply of fuel through the tank through from the flow meter reading and the level in diesel locomotive, then it should be taken care of, and concerned homestead should be advised if there is a variation. Losses due to leakages, repairs, water drainage, difference in accuracy of measurements. So the ownership of inventory and handling losses are on railway account. Railway has to bear handling losses, which is permitted up to 0.1% of total transaction, that is cumulative issues since the last stock verification. There is possibility of pilferage and theft. So if the loss go beyond 0.1%, it should be brought to the notice of concerned senior DMEs and oil companies, and correct action, swift actions should be taken. Of RCDs, all railways should ensure that a current valid clearance of the Chief Controller of Explosives Nagpur is obtained for every RCD, duly meeting all conditions, and a copy is kept in the RCDs without fail. The inherent danger of fire around a diesel fueling installation is due to the formation of inflammable vapors resulting from the leakage or spillage of oil. Fire preventive measures must therefore curtail oil leakage and avoid practices which may allow vapors to form or collect. Proper firefighting facilities should be available so that in case of a fire breaking out, it is possible to combat it. So from RCDs, the fueling requirement of diesel locomotives, ART crane, sometimes power cars, generator of refrigerator cars are being met, but in terms of Railway Board's clear instruction, no oil received against a PO placed for fueling of locomotives is to be used for non-loco purpose from the RCDs. In case it is essential to have supply from RCDs for other departments, then it shall be authorized by Traction Department of Railway Board. After Board's approval, separate vetted indent for this purpose shall be submitted by the respective department to headquarter fuel officials for processing the procurement against such indents. Then only for other essential supply, the RCD's oil can be issued to them. A counter of diesel fuels shall be kept by the RCD in charge. Guidelines have been issued by board for periodic stock verification of fuel stocks of RCDs. As per these guidelines, stock verification has to be done 4 times in a year, once by branch officer of mechanical department, twice by junior scale or senior scale officers of mechanical department, and once by a stock verifier of accounts department. Any shortfall notice during these verifications should be written off duly following the laid down procedure. Accordingly, book balance should be adjusted, including in case excess is noticed. So in brief, I have tried to explain how fuel management is done by the mechanical department. I hope you have enjoyed the session. Thank you.